year the Queen Quet coming to honor right here from the site of the International African American Museum in Choctaw, South Kakalaki. You're in the Gullah Geechee Nation. Chillin', this a show time that it did. We did ya because we done sent off the bus by brother Esau Jenkins, God bless the dead, all the way up Washington D.C. to the capital of the United States. But plenty of 100 children thinks that this year the capital of the Gullah Geechee Nation, ain't it? Because they all start right here in Charleston, South Carolina. And the town, what's going on the other day?
They have an unveiling of the Esau Jenkins Bus, and I am so glad that I came here because I'm seeing all the people that really work with him.
Yes.
You know, we're just so blessed to have some of them still around.
Yes, and to tell the story for truth, tell we story. And you know, you say, I'm so glad I hear, all I hear was, I'm so glad I am, so glad I am, so glad I am, Jesus' name. So glad I am, so glad I am, so glad I am, Jesus' name. Honey, chiller, you know if you're there with me, honey, going to know this year what's going on, and we going to let you tune in to a little bit of what we done shout out today, because God knows it's a shout time right here in Charleston. This year the Queen Quet head from the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation. So glad it honey still a tune in to Gullah Geechee TV station. Peace and blessing, fam.
Society, we want to welcome you to come out tonight or this morning or this afternoon. I'm so sorry, but we are so excited because we have a full house. This is amazing. I know we do a holy clear sky with no rain, but we got to pray for no wind. This is a special time, and we want to thank the people that have been very helpful in helping us make this happen. Would like to thank the board of the Preservation Society, as well as our interim executive director. If you could stand, the board members that are here, and as well as our interim executive director. And then we have some board members here. Thank you. And then we have the Jenkins family. We have them out full force there. If you could stand up, because I think most of you are together, but some of you may not be. And we have first, second, third generation of them here. Children, we have grandchildren. This is wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your support. And we also want to thank Building Funeral Home, who was active out here this morning at 9:30 putting up these tents. As we have Judge Bernard Fielding here with his wife in the audience. And thank you. And we also want to thank the Thomas Pinckney Alliance, which is part of the Preservation Society, and they're here. If you could stand up. Great. Thank you. You'll hear more about them later in the program. So what we want to do is say that this is a special day, and we have speakers that will be coming forth to speak more about Esau Jenkins and the purpose of this occasion and what is going to be happening next. Well, one of the quotes that Esau made that I read, which I thought was really inspirational, was look upward and do something better. He was an amazing example of a man who was just not thinking of himself, but giving of himself to help others. He cared. It's a model for all of us to live by today. So we were so excited about this occasion, and we're going to be even more excited when we get through hearing all about Esau Jenkins. So we're going to go ahead and start with our prayer with Joe Mackey. He come forward.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Creator, the God of our ancestors, we beseech your divine presence upon this gathering this afternoon. We ask your blessings on this historic occasion as we pause not only to celebrate the life and work of the late Esau Jenkins and other civil rights giants, past and present, but also to commemorate their struggles. We thank you for their courage in the face of danger, their steadfast commitment to the cause, and their many sacrifices, including paying the ultimate sacrifice, as they work untiringly for freedom, justice, and equality for the marginalized and disenfranchised in their community and in a country that boasts of being the greatest democracy in the world. Out of the gloomy past, we stand proudly today, offering thanks for the progress that we have made as a race, as your people, and as a country. Fill us now, dear Lord, with your love for you and for each other, because we have witnessed the progress of love and experienced the expense of hate. We thank and praise you for the love of those who made this day possible. And now, God, as we prepare to preserve a piece of Johns Island's history, we ask that you hear our prayer, incline your ear to us, and grant us thy peace. Amen. Amen.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Millicent Brown, and I have been asked to just give some brief explanation, description, if you will, about the occasion. And I really want to say that there are many occasions actually being commemorated today, not just one. And so bear with me just for a couple of minutes while I share with you what I think are some many things that are really happening today. The honoree and his accomplishments will be properly described by others later in the program. I would like, however, to say, just take personal privilege with this and give a thank you to the Jenkins family from the J. Arthur Brown family. We have about 3 generations present today. My sisters, nieces, nephews are with me. You see, J. Arthur Brown and Esau Jenkins went back a long way in this community. But as children, my sisters and I, growing up in the city, were privileged. We had a lot of very educated people around us, and we learned a lot of things. But this Jenkins came into our lives very early and taught us the difference between formal education and wisdom. And our family has always felt that Esau Jenkins was one of the wisest people we ever had the pleasure of knowing. And it meant a difference to how we developed as people and as human rights activists, all of us. So let me say, from our family to your family, he had a special role in a lot of people's development, and we thank you for sharing him with us. There's another context that I want to explore, and that is, in my profession as a historian, I've spent many years trying to embrace, understand, and share. There is no end to the past. People, experiences, documents, artifacts bring unacknowledged voices into the forefront and assure us that old narratives can and must be reinterpreted. Those left out must now be included in history if history is based on truth. The co-sponsor of this program, the Thomas Mayhem Pinckney Alliance, it's a subcommittee of the Preservation Society of Charleston, but its very existence is an indication that our community is growing up, and we're welcoming different perspectives and different layers into the telling of our local history. The Alliance started a short while ago in calling for a continued honoring not only of the buildings of Charleston, but also the builders of our surroundings. And that appreciation parallels ongoing efforts to move toward a more historically accurate understanding of how we became the city, the state, and the nation that we have become. The stories and greater understanding from the local level, for example, Mr. Esau Jenkins and his colleagues, are tying into the national recognition of the Black experience with the Smithsonian's soon-to-be constructed African American Museum in Washington, D.C. And certainly there is anticipation of the international experience of exploited human beings, as this very site on which we sit and stand today is to house the International African American Museum right here in Charleston. Stay informed and involved in making this a reality. Therefore, all of us can walk away today encouraged by the opportunities we have to keep correcting history, including more participants, recognizing the need to put aside romantic notions of the human condition. While often defined by hardship, yes, it is only our honesty in looking at the past will we surely make the future a lot easier to bear and even to improve. Thank you so much for being here.
I have jotted down some things here because I don't want to be up there just randomly trying to talk to them today. Esau Jenkins, I should say. But it's hard for me to say Esau Jenkins because I never called him Esau Jenkins. But one of the things that I can always remember about him was that he was quite religious. Jenkins was the mother of Esau Jenkins, the only child, and at the age of 8 or 12, before his 9th birthday, and when she died, a couple of years later, my granddaddy remarried, and the person that he remarried to was had 2 boys. They were a little younger than my dad, but he and my dad figured he seemed to get on the hard way. So what he did to his father was, he said, I think I'm going to have to move out. I was creating no problem there with these people. So he moved to Mr. Horace Richardson, cousin in the city of Charleston. And he stayed in Charleston and he started working on a potato boat Clyde line, a couple of John Farmers and all the places, pick up potato and bring it back to the city. But man, he was a deckhand on the boat. But after he finished cleaning up the boat, whatever he had to do as a deckhand, he would go downstairs where the engine room was. And he would sit down there and notice what was man in the engine room was doing. And after a period of time, he got to the place and told him that he could do a lot of stuff that this man was doing. So one day the gentleman took sick, and when he took sick, the skipper of the boat said that we can't go out today because we don't have an engineer. So my daddy said, I never went back to the boat up, pull it in. So he said, go down there and try it. Daddy went on there and he just reverse it. He reverses it. Pull it ahead. He pulled it ahead. He called to the crew and said, let's go, we got an engineer, so let's go. So he worked there for a while, and he stayed there until one day it was real cloudy. And the storm was so bad that boats couldn't go out. So they all crew, and many other crews doesn't bother to take boats. They went to the market, all the way down there. But then, that's where all the people on the island just bring their produce to sell. There was a lady, they had a bushel of plum. In that bushel of plum, she said, I have a doctor's appointment. Please, give me 75 cents for this bushel of plum. And I'm going into detail with this because this is the thing that I think that turned his whole life around. He said he wasn't trying to speculate on that bushel of plum. He got sorry for the lady. So he gave the lady the dollar, I think he gave it for that bushel of plum. The lady had some bags to put the plum in there, a quart measuring piece. But in his word, he said, I made more of that bushel of plum than I made for a day's work on that boat. So I never went back on the boat.
Okay.
And from that, he started hustling out of the market. And when he started hustling out of the market, he learned a little grief from the gentleman downstairs when he was going out, and he learned a little bit of grief. Then he went and took some lessons from one of the Greeks on one of his corner stores. And after he took a little bit of Greeks, he started hustling up that market. And anytime you see one of those Greek, the corner stores come by, he was, Papa, they'll go put the Greek. No one else knew what he was saying, but he knew. And all of a sudden, people started wanting to come in there to see this black Greek. So he said, while you're here, he said, why are y'all coming out here trying to buy stuff? And I can give me your board and I can drop it on the store. And after a while, I think he worked over that. He got enough, I would say, business from him that he could buy whatever truck. He had an old 37 Dodge truck. And he started hustling on the market. And his father, by that time, was remarried. And from Mr. Horace Richardson, who raised my dad a little bit. He bought 7 acres of property. And he gave my daddy 3 acres that he took for him. And he started doing some. From that small farming, then they went on to try to do things that help people. Doing that in 1948, when the Progressive Home started, man got shot on the bus road. And this will turn his, more turn his life than what happened here. And in helping people, then the word got to the market where he was. That there is a young man from Georgetown got shot by a man with a dog. He and his brother-in-law were he gave us some blood. He didn't die. You know. But after the death of his mother and the storm and the bushel of plum, she got married at the age of 17. Mama wasn't quite 17 yet, but she was almost there. But as a father, you have to know that if you go out on Saturday night and come back on Sunday morning, and you know before you go to church, you have to know what the lesson was for that day. And get up there and conduct Sunday school. That's at least the first 3 of us, 4 of us. Somebody had to conduct that Sunday school every Sunday morning before we go to service. And you just don't come up there and figure you're going to read it quickly. But the question he's going to ask you, he'll know whether you read it or not, whether you studied your lesson or not. And from that, he was so close to kids. He even told us to go into the say going to the wilderness, because I don't want to bring him all his knowledge. But what he was saying to us, that you have to put a stand on someplace. And people ask me all types of questions. He said, how could you send all these kids to school and you only have a 4-year education? But he said that I said, what's your voodoo? I said, my voodoo was talking to God. When I talk to God, I go in my corner and I talk to God, and I can have my voodoo, all my voodoo, set up some golden objections and try to live up to it. And he took time out from his busy schedule. I have to go back to Mama visit. Mama had 13 kids. And of those 13 kids, I'm the second child, not the first. The first child is me. But I'm the second child, and Elaine is the 13th child. So you can see that he didn't have much time to be having order. But he always had time for the mama and those children. And as a businessman, he ended up with 4 buses, and 3 trucks. A restaurant and motel on Spring Street, and a motel and restaurant on the beach, in Atlantic Beach. And with those business peace, he said to many people, that people they got on him because he was bringing some white folks down to the beach, Atlantic Beach, and they want to know what he's doing bringing white folks down. He thought hell white black folks sound white. But he said that he's not living just to satisfy people, he lived to please himself and how you think God would have him be. And that's what he did. He had a small truck farm, he was by, dropped the people. Went in and asked them to go up the alley. Drop over, but I go in and move the feed. We would go out there and take watermelon and all the stuff on the field and bring it down here to the market. And during this time, he was still had some civics responsibility. So he started the Progressive Club in 1942. The Citizens Committee in 1943. some of the problems that he said, but for me to get where I'm at, I had to buy some expensive money. I didn't have any trade where I could go to his friends who had enough belief in him that would let him borrow some money. And one friend would let him borrow some money, and that's when he was the first bus. Then from that he got added up to 2 more trucks, 3 more buses. And that's when he started taking people from Charleston to Atlantic Beach, because there was no beach around here that black folks could go to. Cicero Beach, and then we start going up to Atlantic Beach, about 150 miles. So we go to Atlantic Beach. When we started doing that, then the credit union, he came in 1966, he started the credit union. When he started the credit union, this came out of that expensive money. He said the citizens living in Charleston County would be the organization that was responsible for it. You ever heard of it? He got it. Then Rule Mission. Give me how I want to do something. And ask her if how could we start something now, especially for the language. And this made me feel so that we want the job done that we need to see each other. So he went to John's Island and saw Esau Jenkins. And what the daddy told him was that going to do anything, they got to do every house and the mission program that you in the rural areas and other just one rural mission. From that rural mission started, and Saunders said he was the personnel person on a rural mission. He's going to give me my job. Because I put in an application, I just came back from Vietnam, and I had 6 months to go into service. So I got into service in 1 July 1971, I started working at Rural Mission, 1 August of service. And after me was then Jim Martin and some more people came on. And that's when my dad resigned from Rural Mission so that I can get the job. And I always appreciate him for that. After that was Seattle Airport. 1971, we got 4 people. And with those 4 people, we got Charlie as the health center. He died in 1972 in October. And when he died at the Black Hospital. He had this burnout feeling because the feeling was his story. And they were trying to find out what happened to him between here and going to Tennessee. And after his death, that's what Bill talked about. After his death, we got the Rural Mission became known as the Esau Jenkins Opportunity Center. Nation, socialized function back in 1973. Habitat for the Humanity, name a street after Esau Jenkins Boulevard on Johns Island. Then a bridge by the state legislators. This is about all I can go with today, but so much I could say that I didn't say. But I want to thank the Preservation Society and all the people associated with it for the help they give us in trying to get this done. And also, give us a bless you. Have a good day. I'm Bill Saunders, and I'm going to sort of talk a little bit more on what Bill Jenkins was just talking about. From Johns Island, Mr. Esau Jenkins, and of course, we got to the point when you know that you really done well in the black community, they start calling you by your first name. They start calling Mr. Esau. And most of the folks that have done well end up being that the last name gets dropped. Mr. Esau was a believer in God, but he was also a follower of Jesus. And so many of us that believe in God, worship in Jesus, you're not a follower of Jesus because you got to put your life in everything you got on the line, every day, everywhere you got, everywhere you go. And that's where he was. He was always out there doing stuff for people. He did a lot of things that I would imagine. He did was to tell me about the definition of politics. He said the definition of politics is the art of compromise. And brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we have lost that totally today. Politics, the art of compromise. I wanted to talk a little bit just about the man because he was able to make things change without getting caught up with a lot of stuff that we do today. Go to meetings and be 100 people there, and he was sitting there for 2 hours, meeting going on. But when he got up to talk, everybody listened. You got a little settlement, you could go on home. Something is happening. And he did everything that he did, Bill. He talked about he was doing it for his people. No matter where he was, I'm doing this. My people don't have this. My people don't have that. You know, my people can have the right to raise the road. I'm going to just give you a few minutes of me because I got out of the Army in 1954. I spent 3 years in the Army. Got mistreated worse than I ever been mistreated in my life in the United States Army. Really got mistreated. And got wounded and went to the Greyhound bus station in Columbia to buy a ticket, cop me, but he was gone. Tell me, you know you don't belong here. And I didn't know that I didn't have a right to go into the Greyhound bus station. So when I left the Army, I was very angry, mad, and wanted to do some stuff. And that's how I was able to back up to somebody used to teach me in Sunday school. And met with him and what he was doing with voter registration and teaching people how to read and write. The way that we John out on the high school, against all of us was in John's high school or John's. Esau had buses that took us to school. All of those that went. Esau had a truck that brought us to wood at the school. Because our school we didn't have everything that went on up to the point of building the podcast. Now, decided we were going to have a school board of our own. That they then put 3 blacks on the school board. Then they put the Esau Jenkins and Lieutenant Williams from Northern Long Island on the board. But he was always in the forefront of most everything that was going on. And, he was a guy that I could we planned that that was the end of that discussion. Anything that was dealing with business and those kinds of stuff. And he, again, we can mention that he was one of the black leaders that really depended on his own living. Nobody came to have to come to buy him out or give him free money. He had his own business. And I want to say something that this is the second time I'm saying it, because it's very important for me. He had a business partner. Geechee Jenkins was his business partner, and they did some business stuff together that you just want to see. And she handled the money that we brought with Alice Ryan, who didn't have any schooling at all, but she's the treasurer. Mr. Esau got in trouble because he decided that folks used to lose money on John Down in these clubs, so nobody could keep money unless you had money. And so a lot of the family got mad at him, but folks, the families would spend the money. So he said, if you ain't got enough money to repay everybody's money, you can't keep the money. And a lot of people are angry, but it was the best thing. It was the best thing. Everything that he did was straight up. And he had to, we ended up almost in a disagreement and coming down to the end where I was a part of Stokely Carmichael and the Military folk and he was Dr. King. We had them both on the island at the same time. And I ended up organizing a hospital with it. And none of the SCLC was in it for a while. And then Mr. Esau came. And that hospital strike would not have ended, especially at County Hospital, if it wasn't. And he had, anybody wanted to talk to William Austin, Reverend Austin, Mr. Esau made him Austin take him over here, over in Mount Pleasant, way up there to this head of the county council house, 11 o'clock at night. Told the man, you were in that strike. When people were suffering, you were in the strike. And the strike ended. That's what happened. None of that stuff is in written form anyplace else. That's what the thing that I wanted to do, and I got a lot of stuff, like Bill was saying, I got a lot of stuff on Facebook, but I can't read nothing when I don't put them on Facebook. And the reason I'm saying it is I can't read it, because everything that I do, and that's one of the things that came from the people, everything that I do, I do. Not that I have to dramatize it, it's what I'm feeling and where I'm coming from. And some of the stuff that I got here that don't need to be said today, but I'm grateful that all of you turn out to honor Mr. Esau Jenkins. And I am honored just to have been asked to be here. And one of the things that we used to say from the island, especially in our church, that every time we got together, might be the last time. Every time. Might be the last time. Might be my last time to talk about it. So it's good, enjoy each other, and make sure that when you leave each other, leave in good standing. So you can say something good or something happen. Because a lot of stuff happened. But God has been good to us. He's brought us a very, very long way. And a lot of us that have survived this thing didn't even have those beginnings to be here, but God brought us to it. That's one of the things. Our church on John West has been in the political forefront and political education. Always focused on. I was upset a little bit this morning, Mike, that we didn't touch none of the stuff that's going on. Because, because we were going to have it in Sunday school. But normally we get involved in all of the other political stuff that's happening around in the community. Those are, I'm going to shut up because I get in trouble. Every day speaking to me now. But, Millicent talked about the part. And here's another guy that really did some stuff. I mean, he had Progressive Club, not Progressive, but Cobra. He with him and a few other guys were able to put Cobra together without a lawyer. He had access to everything. Throughout the ground, we had a guy that wanted to get, he could come back, his mother that was in the hospital and dying, and Red Cross, and nobody couldn't get him. They came to Cobra and the Brown. To this day, we don't know how much this Brown got that guy from it. But in 2 days, that was home. Even some of his family got mad at him. They got mad at us because they wanted to know how we could do it and they couldn't do it. And to this day, but Mr. Esau, Joe Arthur Brown, and a few of those guys, and some of those few women set that ground, they could get stuff done. They could know how they could do it, but they touch it. And they made people feel that. Like Joe Brown was going to office, some of them going to sit there and do what he wanted done. He wouldn't go out all, he just stay there. And a lot of them, we had none of that. I think that we're going to have to get back to what needs to be done. We're doing a lot of celebration, but we're not doing nothing. And we're drifting away from the old man.
Bill Saunders, one of my favorite people. You didn't know I was going to be here, did you? I came to surprise you. And I'm here representing the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, where I serve as a research and program specialist. And I've been there for about 15 months now. And I look out into see faces and see so many familiar faces, and I'm so glad to be back home. And when I heard that we were acquiring parts of this bus during a collections committee meeting, they said that they want to have a little program with a send-off, and they'd like someone to come down. I think I had my hands in the air before they even finished asking. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, and then tell you a little bit about how these parts of the band will be used. There are few things as powerful and as important as a people steeped in its history. For hundreds of years, African Americans have contributed immeasurably to the history and culture of our nation, and yet those contributions have not been given the recognition they deserve until now. With the founding of the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture, the African American experience will be celebrated in all its richness, complexity, and a place of honor on the National Mall. Sports and athletics have been an important part of the African American story and will be featured in the museum. In addition, we will also focus on the contributions made by African Americans in many fields of endeavor, including science, education, the arts, music, government, and social policy, and more. This museum will be a beacon of learning and inspiration, of remembrance and understanding, a place of healing as we look forward to the future. There are 4 pillars upon which this museum stands. Number 1, creating an opportunity for those who care about African American history and culture to explore and revel in its history. Number 2, using African American history and culture as a lens through which to see what it means to be an American. Number 3, telling the African American story in an international context. And number 4, serving as a place of collaboration, supporting and encouraging the work of other museums as the International African American Museum and the Old Slave Mart Museum, the work of other museums and educational institutions. The Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture will be acquiring 2 rare hatch doors, one of the luggage area and the other to the engine compartment. We are particularly taken with Mr. Jenkins' motto on the door, "Hate is expensive, love is progress." The remainder of the bus will be left with the Jenkins family. The doors will be included in an exhibition entitled Defending Freedom, the Era of Segregation, 1878 to 1968. This will be a permanent exhibition. Once the museum opens in late 2015, early 2016, the story of Esau Jenkins and the Progressive Club will be presented in a section covering the post-World War II attempts by African Americans to gain political power and improve their condition. After hundreds of thousands of African Americans served in World War II, they returned to find a nation that still did not treat them as full citizens, meriting the rights and treatment according other citizens. And Defending Freedom, Defending Freedom is one of 3 exhibitions providing a chronological history of the African American freedom struggle from the 17th century to the present. The museum will include 8 additional permanent exhibitions on special topics such as military service, the visual arts, music, and regional experiences. And it will also feature an exhibit called Cultural Expressions, which I am co-curating. So I'd like to thank you for inviting me here today and say thank you especially to the family and to the association and the Preservation Society of Charleston for this wonderful donation. We will care for it and interpret it to the best of our ability, and I hope to see you in a couple of years at the exhibition where it will be on display. Thank you so much.
Esau Jenkins talking, who have known these people for years, have known the tribulation, have known the ups and downs. Every December on the 24th, they have what we call a Christmas Watch Night meeting here in the Moving Chair Hall. They know the tune, they're ready to shout. They're giving praise to the great Supreme Being who have stood by them in past days from slavery up to this present. Right here tonight, they will be singing from 12 o'clock until Christmas morning. Just to hear these songs remind us of our hardship. Those songs are the ones that made them happy, made them go through those hard days, the days when they didn't have a place to live of their own, didn't have a piece of land of their own, living on a plantation. These people are hard-pressed people, and the optimists enough to believe that the better days are coming. When they get into these religious shouts, they feel so happy that that's all they can do but shout. The emotion will go into their hands and to the feet, start clapping, and you can't keep them sitting. And not when they start clapping, they feel so happy that they got to shout. People 60 years and 70 years old clap and shout and jump all over the floor without falling down. Oh.
In my time, dying, I ain't want nobody from home. All I want
celebration. This has been a momentous occasion with our speakers. We want to thank everyone. Melissa Brown, Abraham Jenkins, Bill Saunders, Nicole Green from coming down from Washington, the Mount Zion Spiritual Singers, and Mr. Mackey. Thank you everyone for coming. Now we're going to have refreshments, but we wanted to point out to you that in the back table we have 2% bounty, as well as an award that has a picture with a frame around it where you can sign if you want to be a part, your presence being noted. So that's also available for you to sign. We want you to sign in. We have a sign-in sheet over there on the clipboards because we will be having future events that you'll want to know about. So we seem to do really well with the social media and also email. So please do sign in if you have an email. If you don't have an email, it's okay. Go ahead and put your address down. So thank you again for everyone for coming. Now we can fellowship with each other. Thank you.